Hello everybody, and guess what? I'm here. Yes. This isn't going to be a consistent thing at the moment because I still actually don't have all of my stuff. I don't actually have my desk at the moment. I mentioned in a community post on my channel that I'm still waiting for my desk. You know, I've got pretty much all the other furniture in my room. I've got a stack of monitors sitting next to me here. So at the moment I've got my computer sitting on the floor. I've got everything just sort of stacked haphazardly around me, just so I can test out the equipment and see if it's working the way I hoped it would. I don't even have I don't have any lights yet either. All I've got is my bedroom light up there. That's all I've got lighting the thing at the moment. But I just wanted to test things to see how it was working. So I thought, why not do an actual video? It's been 6 months since I last did one. It was just before Christmas when I last made a video, a proper video, not one of these ones telling you like how things were going after all my ceilings fell through. And you know, I'm back in the house. You know, I'm slowly getting all my stuff back together. I've got almost everything at the moment. So yes, all good things. So I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to go in and I'm going to do a Bloodywood video, because obviously they released their album earlier this year, something I was very, very eagerly anticipating, and I've still not actually won and I haven't got a copy of it yet. And they've released, I think, 2 more videos since the album was released, or they might have released one just before and one after, I can't remember. But anyway, I'm going to look at a track called Dana Dan. Now, looking at the translation, because I've got the lyrics here, as you know I normally would, and from what I can understand, Dana Dan means somewhere along the lines of bring the beat down, or at least that's the translation that I've got. Now, as I do understand it, this does contain a very sensitive subject. I mean, the first line of the lyrics says it all. So, you know, it does contain themes of sexual assault and rape. So if anybody is triggered by that, if anybody is affected by that, I would suggest you click away now. But be forewarned, the subject is there, and as we all know, I like to go through and talk about the lyrics. So I'm going to try out all this equipment. I still haven't figured out the logistics of everything yet, so things might seem a little bit off kilter. But yes, shall we actually do this? Shall we record the first video of the year after 6 months of waiting? So let's have a look at Dana Dan by Bloodywood. Let's give it a go, see if this works.
To the face of a rapist, and yeah, I take this for the viewing pleasure of the nameless faces, he disgraces. And yeah, one day I may change his kind with my mind, but I won't bow to the beast, never make peace and feast on it if you're gonna let it eat. So the white beat, am I gonna beat another beat? Am I gonna let the home in the sea? Dead meat, delete, going off like a time bomb. White heat, trickle out like a python, bonafide on my side, then we're gonna ride on up into your mind, and then we're gonna take a chicken out, beat the name of take a hood and heads up, begin the shop. Take a butter, take a thumb, take a thumb, take a butter, take a bitch, take a money, ass, and dog. La doge, budo, gamana. Get within or get God, got to you in my sights, motherfucker, it's a headshot. You up on the spot and you start to run. Yeah. No man, yes all man, need all man. For what we saw, man can't be when it's been away. But when you see for yourself to get involved in talking all in, do more poets of war. Kids on today, we leave it raw. Bloody galore, we clean up the core, we do it for her too. That's anarchy up in the patriarchy and we love it. We done asking nasty, so now we're here thugging it. No man and no woman, it's the people that are running. Listen for that engine, cause now we gon' be gunning. I think it's a good idea to hear about. Take out your hands up, we can't be sharp. Think about it, think it's on, think it's on, think about it, think it's a money, get shut up. La toque, puto, cámara. Dame con day, dale, gay, gun, die, 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 Now if you're straight, time to turn back and run with the pack. It's time to fight, yeah, we got the ammo to stack. Fuck every man for himself, it's every man for every man and everybody else, everybody else. I raise a fist for the nameless faces. He disgraces, raise a fist for the nameless faces. He disgraces, and yeah, one day I may change his kind with my mind. One day I may change his kind with my mind. Raise a fist for the nameless faces. He disgraces, raise a fist for the nameless faces. He disgraces, and yeah, one day I may change his kind with my mind. One day I may change his kind, but until then,
well, there we go. Dun by Bloodywood, and as we've come to expect from them, another tremendously brilliant piece of music with a tremendously powerful message. Every single song they've released has had some really strong, powerful meaning behind it, whether it was like fighting against depression, or if it was like the cowardly and corrupted politicians of the world, and like this one, this is against sexual assault and rape, which unfortunately is a very prevalent thing in certain parts of the world. Very, very powerful lyrics, and again, an amazing piece of music. I mean, I think this is possibly the heaviest piece of music I've actually heard by them, and I know I've said that a couple of times on previous tracks. Like, was it Gadar? That was a pretty damn heavy track, but this one is brutally heavy. It's amazing, and they've got all sorts of elements in there. Again, like, you've got the Indian-inspired music, you've got the really heavy chugging guitars, the hard-hitting drums, and then you've got a bit of sort of electronica in the background as well. And I think this is also the most rappy one, if I can, rappy. It's got the most rapping in it, from what I can remember. I could be wrong. It's been a while. But anyway, let's take a look at these lyrics, and like I said once again, these do contain references to rape and sexual assault. So be forewarned. It says, I put a fist through the face of a rapist, and yeah, I tape this for the viewing pleasure of the nameless faces he disgraces. And yeah, one day I may change his kind with my mind, but I won't bow to the beast, never make peace. It feasts only if you're gonna let it eat. So the wife beater, bout to get a beating on the beat. I'm a get 'em at the home and the street. Dead meat, delete, going off like a time bomb, white heat, choke 'em out like a python. Bonafide homicide. Then we're gonna ride up into your mind, and then we're gonna fight on. So he's basically saying, you know, if I come across someone who's committed sexual assault or like violent abuse against a woman, I'm going to beat the living hell out of him, and I'm going to show it to the world, because I want people to know him for the coward and the piece of shit that he actually is, and I don't care who knows it, I want everybody to know what kind of person he is, and I don't care if I get in trouble for beating the crap out of him. I know that I've done, in my mind, the right thing, to protect these people that are getting viciously and violently assaulted and, raped, etc. So, very powerful already. Then it goes into the pre-chorus, which is, of course, I can't remember if it's in Hindi or whatever. And the translation I have here, again, I'm not sure how accurate this is, but this is the translation I have. It says, watch as he lets the demon possess him. Watch his civility turn to ash. Watch how an apparent saint becomes a monster behind the curtains. If wounds do not change them, grab them by the neck and then it goes into that chorus bit, dun, 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 dun. That goes really, really heavy. And again, the translation I have there is bring the beat down. So, he's saying if words don't change him, grab them by the neck and bring the beat down. In other words, if you can't reason with him, beat it into him. And I don't necessarily agree with like using violence to, you're beating someone up, so I'm going to beat you up to get you to stop. That doesn't necessarily sit right with me, but I can understand the logic going on. It's like, if you think it's okay to beat her, I'm going to beat you. But he's saying, watch as he lets his demon possess him, watch his civility turn to ash, and watch how an apparent saint becomes a monster behind the curtains. Because the people that do this sort of thing, out in public, they're all sweet and lovely and innocent and, an apparent saint. But as soon as they get behind closed doors, as soon as there's no one there to watch them and they're alone with this other person, then their whole persona changes. They become this vile creature. They become this monster that thinks it's okay to violently, physically abuse someone else. And then just after the chorus it says, if words do not change them, they can taste my boot. Again, that's a translation I have. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what I've got. It then carries on. Consent, better get it or get got. Got you in my sights, motherfucker, it's a headshot. You up on the spot, a new start or rot, yeah. Not all men, yes, all men, need all men for what we're solving. Can't be what it's been, but we're evolving. You see for yourself, now get involved in talking all in, do more, boy it's war, chainsaw to the dead weight, leave it raw. Bloody galore as we clean out the core. Yeah, we do it for her, so we kick in the door. It's anarchy up in the patriarchy, and we're loving it. We done asking nicely, so now we're thugging it. No man and no woman, it's the people that are running it. Listen for that engine, 'cause now we're gonna be gunning it. Now, there's a specific line in there that I really like, and it's a mistake that very frequently gets made. So, okay, it opens with consent, better get it or get got. If you're looking to have an intimate relationship with someone, get consent. If you don't have consent, you're gonna get got. You're gonna get the beat down, essentially. And, you're gonna get yourself into trouble. And, consent can be withdrawn. Again, something that people seem to fail to understand. Consent can be withdrawn. As soon as you hear the word no, that's it. It ends. So he says, "I've got you in my sights. It's a headshot. You up on the spot, a new start or rot." So it's like you can, you know, if you make this mistake, you've got the chance to start over again. You're going to get into trouble the first, when you do it. But from that moment, you've got the choice to either like take control of things and start over and rethink your life and do things the right way. Because if you carry on the way you're going, you're going to get beaten down a hell of a lot more. And then there's this line, and this is the line that I like. It says, "Not all men, yes, all men, need all men for what we're solving." Now, this is a very common mistake that's made, because, I mean, I can kind of see some of the logic behind it. Because you see, all the time, I see these posts that say, all men do XYZ bad things. Now, while it is true, not all men do XYZ bad things. There's things like all men cheat. No, they don't. I've never cheated. I never would. I never could. But that's the experience of that person. Every person they have been involved with has cheated. And if you're turning around saying not all men, if you're replying, if someone posts something like that and you reply, not all men, you're not helping. You're basically making it sound like you're ignoring the problem. You shouldn't be going, well, not all people do that, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't do that, so I don't have to worry about it. All of us collectively need to work together to educate these people that are doing the bad thing. So whether you've done it or not doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, all of us men, need to work together to put an end to this rape culture. But by saying not all men, that's basically you saying, well, this doesn't involve me, so I'm not going to bother about it. It's not my problem. And I'm just going to sit back and, not do anything. But that's basically like watching someone attack a woman and just standing there and letting it happen. You are part of the problem because you're allowing it to continue. It says, we need all men for what we're solving. So, all of us collectively need to be a part of this and put an end to it. And there was that line, yeah, we do it for her, so we kick in the door. It's anarchy up in the patriarchy, and we're loving it. So it's like, we're doing it for her. We don't care who you are. If that woman is getting hurt, assaulted, beaten, raped, whatever, at your hands, we're going to kick down your door, and we're going to, we're going to deal with it. We don't care who you are. And he's saying, no man and no woman, it's the people that are running it. Listen for that engine, because now we're going to be gunning it. We're going to be, revving forward at high speed to get this sort of thing sorted. We're not just going to take a slow, casual stroll through this and, maybe eventually put a stop to it. He's like, we're getting this done now. Then it goes back into that pre-chorus. Watch as he lets the demon possess him. Watch his civility turn to ash. Watch how an apparent saint becomes a monster behind the curtains. If words do not change them, grab them by the neck and bring the beat down. And then goes back into that post-chorus. If words do not change them, they can taste my boot. And then it goes into a bridge. It says, now if you strayed, time to turn back and run with the pack. It's time to fight, yeah, we got the ammo stack. Fuck every man for himself, it's every man for every man and everybody else. Everybody else. I raise a fist for the nameless faces he disgraces. Rise. Raise a fist for the nameless faces he disgraces. And yeah, one day I might change his kind with my mind. One day I might change his kind with my mind. I raise a fist for the nameless faces he disgraces. Rise. Raise a fist for the nameless faces he disgraces. And yeah, one day I may change his kind with my mind. One day I may change his kind, but until then, and then it goes back into that chorus, dun dun and a dun dun and a dun, basically bring the beat down, until I can change his mind, bring the beat down. But it's like if you strayed, time to turn back. So it's like, so if you did do something wrong, you know, if you did do, you know, commit sexual assault, now is your time to sort of rethink your life, restart things, you know, make sure you don't ever do it again. You know, now is your time to try and not necessarily put it right, but, you know, try to help others not make the same mistake you did. You know, it says time to run with the pack. So, you know, come on, join us. We will help you. We know you've made a mistake. You've been punished for that mistake. You've paid for that mistake. Now, join us and help fight against it, so that sort of thing doesn't happen. And there's that line: "Fuck every man for himself. It's every man for every man and everybody else." You know, instead of just fighting for just yourself, you know, we need, as I said before, we need to sort of band together and help. You know, all of us need to help everybody else. You can't be selfish. You need to help other people. You know, you need to be a good person. You know, rather than just sitting there watching it, letting it happen. And, you know, I raise a fist for the nameless faces he disgraces. So again, you know, I'm fighting for the people that he's destroyed. You know, I'm fighting for the people he's hurt. You know, these people, because a lot of people who are victims of sexual assault do not report it because they're scared or embarrassed or ashamed. You know, and you know, it does mostly happen with women, but it can also happen with men. You know, and it's something that really needs to stop, because it is something that, you know, there are some countries where this happens a lot. You know, and you know, sometimes it's happening to young girls, you know, young kids, you know, and this sort of thing really needs to stop. But as I said, you know, another incredibly powerful piece of music by a fantastic band that I absolutely love and adore. I'm going to eventually get my hands on their album, because obviously when all my ceilings fell through and I had to vacate the house, it came at the worst possible time, because loads of new songs and new bands were releasing music and albums, and I couldn't very well do that because I was hopping from hotel to hotel. Now, many of you, whilst I was going through all this, many of you offered very kind and encouraging words, and I want to thank all of you for doing that. It really helped, because, you know, it was a very hard time. With my mother and my uncle, they're both disabled, and I pretty much look after them. With that being the case, everything revolving around the house fell to me to do. I had to deal with everything. I had to sort out I had to speak to the insurance company, even though the insurance is in my uncle's name. He's starting to become very forgetful, almost like early onset Alzheimer's, I think it might be. You know, he's starting to get very forgetful. You know, his mind's sort of slipping at the moment. So all of this sort of fell to me to do. You know, I had to get in plumbers, you know, I had to organise everything. So I was under a lot of stress. I got incredibly depressed, as some of you might have seen in the videos. We got screwed around something absolutely chronic by our insurance company. And, you know, I tried to keep you updated. I think I did about 8 or 9 videos updating you, telling you what was going on. So many of you, you know, came along for the journey and saw and heard what was going on. And like I said, many of you offered very kind and very encouraging words, and I just want to thank all of you for that, because it was an incredibly stressful time. It was an incredibly depressing time, obviously, because I lost everything I owned, because everything I owned was in this room. And when the ceilings fell through, because there was asbestos, everything got contaminated, so everything had to be destroyed. So I lost everything. I lost my music collection, which I've had since I was, you know, I've been collecting that since I was about 11, 12 years old. You know, I lost the first ever CD I ever bought. I lost signed special editions. I lost signed posters. You know, I had collectibles in this room from 1984 because I used to collect Transformers figurines, and I had some, I had some very old ones from like the early 80s. They were lost and destroyed. So, I was in a very bad situation, and all of you offered up your very kind words, and it really did help me quite a lot. And I want to thank each and every one of you for that, and for hanging around and being so patient with me through that time. Because if the insurance company had got their finger out of their backside, this would have been done so much quicker. It's taken us 6 months. We lived in 7 different hotels, I think it was, and we ended up actually having to come back to the house because they screwed up the last hotel. We couldn't actually live there because we would have had to have walked up 4 flights of stairs just to get to the room, and obviously my mother and my uncle, being disabled, can barely even walk up 3 steps. So but things are starting to get underway. Like I said, the videos at the moment might not be as frequent as they usually were, because I'm still waiting for my desk, and hopefully, this viewpoint won't be the standard going forward. This is just testing out my equipment. But now I'm just babbling on. But thank you all very, very much for watching, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you more content very, very soon. Bye bye.